you deal with ethers, ethers are dealing with the key of nothingness that I told you all about years ago. I said there's a state called nothingness, right? And I said they had to create a state of nothingness to create something in it. And to the layman ear, that sounds like mumbo jumbo, because I know if I heard it from somebody, you know, in a layman state of mind, I would say, what the heck does that mean? Then you create nothingness, right? But the creation of nothingness is when a form of energy is in transit to another state. Meaning, when you on earth plane, I'm going to keep it simple, when you on earth plane go back to the lightest element before the quark was identified, you got back to hydrogen. And you know that because they called it one. So anything on the other side of one is zero. And zero means non-existence. Out, right? Not here. Okay, so when hydrogen was thought to be the lightest element, right, and the first principle of existence, and this was pre-quark, then quark did exist. You understand that? But it was not known to exist. And scientists worldwide, in all fields of scientific endeavors, were accepting the principle of hydrogen as the lightest element. You with me? But did quarks exist insofar as they got more sophisticated with computers and larger telescopes, and they was able to find a quark within the hydrogen. So while the hydrogen was identified as the lightest element and the first stage of existence, insofar as quarks did exist, quarks was existent in a state of nothingness until they get to the other side of hydrogen and become something. Something simply is S-U-M-T-H-I-N-G, not S-O-M. That's phonetics. The something, I mean, it sums up to something. See, an hydrogen atom sums up to something. Nothing means no thing. And no is symbolic of number. When you're going to write number, instead of writing N-U-M-B-E-R, you write N-O and then tattoo to imply number. So no thing is something without its number. You with me? I don't want to sound like I hate mumbo-jumbo teachers. They sound deep, it don't make no sense. And I don't want to sound like that. I want you to grasp this because you got to teach it. When you get on the side of hydrogen, right, you step into no thing if hydrogen is the lightest thing in existence. It doesn't mean that nothingness doesn't exist. It means that nothingness hasn't become one of the things that exist. Didn't have a number. You start dealing with the ethers, when you get down to the quark, like years ago I say, well, when you get down to hydrogen, on the other side of hydrogen is Allah. Because Allah would have to span the whole non-existent state to be ghaibi, yet exists. The ghaibi is the word they use in the Quran for unseen. In order for Allah to exist and not be perceived, he must not sum up to a thing. You follow? Though he is a thing, he can't sum up to a thing. He can't be calculated as a thing. So the best thing they could do was say, Allahu Ahâd. See? Allah is alone. And then some unknowing, egotistical imam scholar said, Allahu Wâhîd. And I don't know if you remember, there was a conflict in the best names of Allah as to whether it should be Wâhîd or Ahâd. Muslim scholars were battling because they didn't have the esoteric information because they had become tunnel vision. Which I'll explain in a minute why and how Muslims become tunnel vision. To the point where they could no longer listen for the voice of Allah to give them the answer. They only had to listen to the voice of scholars and Sahaba and sheikhs and Molanas and imams and muftis and opinionating mortals. You follow? So we would say hydrogen is one this way, and ether is one this way. Ether 1 was the first part of non-particle or non-participle. You see, non-particle, going that way. Existence that doesn't sum up to solid, liquid, and gas. Because the number they want it to sum up to is 3. Now, when you get liquid and gas, and you get down to hydrogen, is it solid, liquid, and gas, or is it gas, liquid, and... See, they teach you solid, liquid, and gas because you're coming from 99 degrees of matter that each have an atomic number that all sum up to something. Coming down this way. And when you get down to the last 3 degrees of it, it becomes, coming from this way, solid, liquid, gas, and then it goes into ultra this, exoplasm. It's moving out of the state of the degrees of something. You with me? When they say solid, liquid, and gas, how do you relate to that? Solid is the mass, the body. Liquid is the blood, the plasma, right? The plasma. And gas is the ether, the soul. You follow that? Those are the stages going in. And at what point do you meet Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, or El Elo, or Anu, or whatever name makes you feel comfortable? Do you meet him in the solid? Do you meet him in the liquid? Or do you meet him in the gas? You meet him in the gas. Because you meet him as you scale up the planes from the material plane, solid, you see that? To the plane of force, water, energy, water creates current. And after the solid, which is the mass, the body, the liquid, which is the water, the blood, then you have the gas. So you have the physical plane, the plane of force, now what's next? Plane of force, and after that, the spiritual plane. And this is where people say you meet the Most High at the... Now, if you take those 3 planes and overlay them in the degrees of existence, which are Nesut, Malakut, and Lahut, then you get Nesut, the plane of men, mortal, solid. Then you get Malakut, angelic, the plane of force, energy, angelic beings. And then you get Lahut, the spiritual plane. And it keeps saying, what is the spiritual plane? The etheric plane. Now, you were there, which is here, when the word was said exists. I don't know if you ever heard that before, but you may get a better understanding of it now. You were in that etheric state, which became this physical state. You were there, which is when the word was spoken, be.